Uh, Welcome everyone to our kickoff to 2021, the ECONversations podcast for Southwest Riverside County. Glad to have Mr. Scott Agajanian with the City of Murrieta and Ms. Kimberly Davidson with the City of Wildomar with us today. We'll see if anyone else would like to join us, but wanted to kind of get back to it, kick off the year in a way that, let's look forward to hopefully some very prosperous futures here in 2021 for Southwest Riverside County. And let's talk about, economic development, New Year's resolutions. So what is it that you guys have on your resolution list of things that you would like to see for this year? And I'll let you guys kind of decide who wants to jump in first.
Go ahead.
Go for it, Kim.
Well, all right, I'll start. And we've been asked to do the same thing by our city manager to kind of give him our 3 wishes for this year from each department. And so mine, mine was 3, but then I realized all 3 were really kind of 1. So I guess I have 1 and I need to come up with 2 more for my city manager. But my main one, I think, is just figuring out more and better ways to engage with our community. Because, as you guys know, I've only been with Wildomar for a year and a half now. So the community engagement, especially from an economic development standpoint, is new for the city of Wildomar anyways. And it was something that I was already working on when we went into the shutdown. Then we didn't really know how long the shutdown was going to be. And while we have been communicating and engaging with our residents and business owners over this past year, I think that we could really make, and still not knowing when we're going to go back to full in-person meetings again, just making that even more of an attempt to get more of our residents and business owners on like our Coffee with the City Zoom and different meeting attendance that we have. We tend to not have, like for the Small Business Roundtable, for example, we don't get a lot of Wildomar participation. We get some, but most of our participation is from Murrieta businesses and just businesses within the region. There's not a lot, there could be more Wildomar participation. So that's really my resolution and my biggest wish for this year is to figure out how to better engage the residents, especially because we may need to continue doing the Zoom and the online type meetings for a little bit yet. And just trying to figure out new ways to get in front of them and to engage them and to get their participation in some of our business forums that we have.
All right, I'm gonna flip the script on that. My goal, and as you both probably know, my rule with economic development is be there when a business needs you and then get the heck out of their way when they don't. I want to not be needed by a single business in Murrieta come the end of 2021. The goal for me is to stop communicating, stop sharing resources, stop rolling out grants, stop talking about loan programs and CalCompetes. I would love to be in a world where businesses are so busy just being their business that the best thing that I can do for them is not exist and get out of the way and just let them run and function. Because since we're in Dream World New Year's resolution, my resolution is that we watch everything incrementally get better instead of incrementally get worse, and that we see businesses open instead of close, and that we get to the point where those businesses are open and there's so much demand because people are tired of not spending their money and being in their house that they get out and they actually do stuff. And so, obviously we want to get to that world where it's a safe place for them to do so. But when we do, boy, we're going to want to see everybody get out, eat at your restaurants, go and play, go to your movies, get out and have some fun. And I'll have no reason to put out daily newsletters with the latest update on what's changed. I just want to put out a monthly one and talk about all the new cool stuff that's opening up in the city of Murrieta. Those are fun days. And the fun days is, I think, what everybody sees. It's been a long time coming. We knew 2020 wasn't going to end fun, and it didn't. It is time for 2021 to get a little bit funner every day. Funner. It's gooder than fun. You know that, wherever you are.
Gooder than fun is funner.
So those are both really good, and I think we know that there are challenges with communicating in our valley because we don't have any true media or what have you. So to your point, Kimberly, that is a challenge for us. But but I definitely think that there are ways that we can all work together to kind of figure out ways that we can improve that a bit for all of us. So both of yours were both pretty much, about, what is existing and how to, what's going on here. So since obviously we think a lot on these podcasts about kind of the outside of reaching out to the, the outer areas of what's here, what would be your wish or resolution or something that you would like to see this year for your city? Not necessarily internally, but more externally, whether it's, a wish for a certain retailer, a wish for a certain type of developer you would like to deal with. Is there some sort of, entertainment or, outside of the retail sector, but more of that entertainment field engagement that you'd like within the city? Because obviously, like you said, Scott, we're throwing it out there for, dreams and stuff. So what could it be? Because you never know. You say it and might happen.
I know what I want. I want to get back to 2.9% unemployment, because when we get back to 2.9% unemployment, that means that businesses are back and fully functioning. That means that tourism is happening. That means the hospitality, it means every layer of jobs are back. And when that happens, I have so much faith that the entertainment companies and the new businesses and developments will follow along with it, that I think all of the rest will take care of itself.
And we have some opportunities coming up in Wildomar. Obviously, I can't talk too much about them in detail, but which is always the struggle of our job.
You can tell us a little bit, Kim. Just a little, just a smidgen.
It's just the three of us. Come on.
Come on, no one knows. No one knows. Do it.
But we do have we have a developer that is working on a cool idea that will be kind of like an outside venue, and that would be, in Wildomar, we're always trying to, first of all, and I've said it before, Wildomar, we're kind of behind the 8 ball as far as Murrieta, Temecula, Menifee, Lake Elsinore. They're years ahead of us in just what they've been doing, just because that's how it worked in our age and that sort of thing. But so as we're trying to, as we're coming into our own, we're constantly thinking of how can we complement what's already here and not just duplicate. We don't want to just duplicate what we already have across our valley and across our region, but how can we complement it? And I think we have a couple of things. I mean, as you know, we have the shooting range that's going to be coming online. They're still working through, they're indoor, 35,000 square foot, 2-story indoor shooting range that's, and it's funny because our city manager has always likened this region to Disneyland and has said Wildomar is Frontierland. And of course, you've got the shooting gallery right when you go to
Why not?
It works. So we're very excited about our shooting range, and there really isn't one local that our public safety personnel can go to and do their certifications and their training at. So we look very forward to a lot of public safety personnel coming into our borders and getting their training. But stuff like that's different. It hasn't been done in our valley yet, where we are getting a shooting range. We're working on some entertainment / food that would be more of an outdoor type of situation. But as you guys know, I mean, sometimes these great ideas come in with all the gusto, and then it's a matter of, keeping them going. And a lot of times it's not up to us to keep it going. Sometimes those developers, run into hurdles that are well beyond our control, but we're going to do everything that we can to see that through as best as we can. But we do have some exciting things like that I'm really hoping take hold in 2021. And some of the developers that have come to us have some great ideas with COVID in mind and with any kind of future pandemic type of scenario in mind and our beautiful weather. I mean, most of the time we have very few days where you couldn't eat outside or you wouldn't want to, especially with like a heating lamp or a couple of misters or something, and you're good to go. A fan and a mister and a heater for nighttime, and that's it. So a lot of outdoor type of opportunities that we see starting to pop up, and that we hope to really see those through and get the ball rolling on those in Wildomar.
And I think, you've said it before, is that as much as, you characterized it as, Wildomar behind the eight ball, I think that's an opportunity and an advantage to an extent, in that Wildomar now gets to be more selective of what they want to see and how the city develops out, which is a huge advantage over some of the others. So, and I think that that's definitely, you can see that during conversations at planning commission meetings and at the city council meetings. And so it's a good place to be, really, too.
Absolutely. And I had mentioned on another podcast that we did here that we have turned down some ideas or tried to put them in different areas of the city where we see a better use for some proposed ideas. So we have the ability now to just sit back and be selective of what we put into Wildomar and make sure that it doesn't compete or duplicate with what our neighbors and our friends already have to the north and south and east of us. And also, Wildomar, because we didn't rely on a lot of the things that were shut down during COVID, we're also in a very unique position as well, unlike some other cities, maybe some other larger cities that relied heavily on tourism or relied heavily on just different areas that were hit so hard during this pandemic shutdown. Wildomar never relied on that stuff. So we have a balanced budget based on what we have. So we really have the opportunity now to sit back and kind of pick and choose what we want to fill it with. And all that's just really going to be icing on the cake, because we already have a balanced budget with what we have going on as it is. So it's kind of strange how it worked out that way, but we never relied on some of the things that were hit so hard during COVID. So we were in a kind of unique situation.
I was just surprised you guys turned down that Trader Joe's, because I know you're being selective, but when you said get out of here, Trader Joe's, we don't want you, I shocked. Amazon too, you guys have turned down a lot of good stuff. So.
We would never turn down a Trader Joe's, never.
Yeah. So, couldn't agree more. I think that 2021 is going to be a great year for expansion in Murrieta. As you guys know, there's a lot of companies in Murrieta that were already looking to expand coming the end of 2020. And just seeing this as an opportunity to work on some of the background stuff that has to go on in order to make that happen. Everything from Rancho Springs and Kaiser with their second phase, which has just received the director's determination on their CUP, moving forward with the ambulatory surgery center. There's a lot of, and even the restaurant across the street, the Chef's Grill. There's a lot of cool companies in town that are growing and expanding. And we're starting off January just booming. We've got very close to the opening of the West Coast Exotic car line that's going to have 2 new car stores in it, Karma and Celine, along with the exotic cars. They're getting very, very close, as well as Floor & Decor, which is going to open up in mid-January here. So we got some cool stuff here, but there's also some cool stuff on the horizon with those silly little monikers like we can't say it yet because we can't say it because people make you have non-disclosure agreements. But there really are some neat things on the horizon. So I think more than anything, just a return to normalcy this year. Right, because there's still demand. People want to be in our market. This is a great market, and even as tapped as it is, it's untapped in a lot of niches, and that's where I think Kim has some opportunity, like you guys talked about. Right, we may have tapped into some markets, but there's a lot of stuff still left to work on, and I think that you'll find a demand to come to our market. That it's a lot easier to do our job today, Kim, than it was probably 10 years ago when you were drawing to people to a market they didn't know about, and I think now people really do. So it's just an exciting time to see things reopen and get moving forward again, because we went backwards for a year. Now it's time to reverse that cycle.
Yeah. And it's you couldn't ask for a better time, because like Q said, Kim, is that we have fared in this valley better than most. I ran out to grab some food at lunchtime, ran into a chamber member, and the person was asking me, they're like, how many businesses have closed and this and that, and I said, you know what, believe it or not, it's very few in this valley, and that's amazing. It's indicative of the community that is here, that supports the communities, right? That
They're
really,
hurting. Don't
they're,
miss,
oh yeah, no, no,
but they're hanging on.
yes, don't
They're
get me wrong.
hanging
Yeah,
on like by
it's not
their
like it's easy.
nails.
Yeah, no.
They're not
But
letting go.
but I mean, I talk to a lot of my counterparts across the country, and I know some areas where, I mean, they've got, 50% of their business climate is closed and done for good. I mean, that's just devastating to communities. So, we're sitting in a pretty good position. And if we can get through the next few months, I think we're sitting in a really good area where things can come back here probably stronger and quicker than a lot of other areas.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And so when you say your counterparts, are these other bearded men
Yeah,
across the country?
yes,
I'm
yeah.
just
And
wondering
women,
who
and
falls
women
into
do
that
not
list.
discriminate. Okay.
Bearded men and women. Perfect. So, Ed, Kim, I love the point that you make, is that yet while they're staying open, they're not exactly booming right now. And that's why we look forward to the day when things can reopen safely, but really effectively, and in a way that lets them make up for some of this lost time, because everybody is just kind of scraping by. And we would love to see our businesses thrive again so that they can help support other businesses, and we can make this whole ball start going all over again.
And I don't know about other areas, and the areas that Patrick was referring to that are hurting so badly with businesses shutting down. But I do know that in our area, one of the things that we are blessed with and that we work very hard at is the business owners supporting each other. So the community, I think our community as a whole, from, all the cities from Temecula to Lake Elsinore over to Menifee and the whole region, we have a lot of support for our small businesses, maybe more so than other areas. And the business owners are helping each other out. Just really a lot of support, even from like uses. You have coffee shops helping out coffee shops and restaurant owners helping out other restaurant owners. I don't know that you see that other places because I've never really lived other places. But I do know that we have that here. And I suspect that that's part of the reason why people are able to hang on, or have been able to hang on as long as they have in this area, more so than other areas, because we do have a lot of support. There's a lot of community pride, I think, for our region. And everybody just really supports each other. And if we hear of someone that is struggling, we end up having like a flash mob and everyone goes and gets to go, or, we all kind of band together and make sure that they're going to be okay as best we can. And so far, knock on wood, it's been working okay.
And that's, go ahead.
No, I wanted you to go because I want to hear that point, and then I'm going to say something opposite.
I was going to say, you're exactly right. And that's a culture that was created here years and years ago. That's not something that's new either. And that's why I think that so many businesses have been supported as much as they have here. I remember back when, and they just celebrated, the Shamrock just celebrated their, 8th anniversary. I remember when they first opened up, they literally had 2 other restaurants in Murrieta who helped them through the process.
Yeah.
That's not something
doesn't happen
in most places.
I
right?
know that's not normal.
Most places, and those who understand that, though, I think that competition is a good thing and embrace that. And I think you see that a lot here, thrive in that. And those who look at it in the opposite way, don't do as well because they're too narrow-sighted, I think. So it's a really, really good point. Yes.
It was funny. I think I shared with you guys before that I was at a coffee shop in Wildomar, and I was meeting with another person who is opening a coffee shop in Wildomar. And we had to meet at the current coffee shop because their coffee shop isn't open yet, and a lot of things aren't open. So we were out on the patio meeting, and I was just saying, there are no competitors here in this valley. There's just friends, and there's partnerships. And I swear the words were like hanging in the air like a word bubble when the general manager of the current coffee shop walked out and said something, and we said, oh, they're going to be opening a coffee shop down the street. And she got so excited and told them, whatever you guys need, how can I help you? And it was so weird because I had just said that. And I'm sure the people that I had said it to were probably thinking, all right.
Oh, you set that up.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I couldn't have planned that better if I had tried, but And even the general manager of the current coffee shop was almost in tears because she was so excited for these people that they were going to get to live their dream and open up their coffee shop. And it was just like, if I had been able to videotape that moment, it would have been just perfect. But it's true. There's just a lot of collaboration and partnership through this region, which is amazing.
And my initial question, which I think Patrick answered in his initial statement, really was going to go to, where do you get a foundation of culture that makes an area good, right? Why is it that this area, because I've always found, Murrieta, Wildomar, Temecula, this whole southern Riverside County region, even Menifee, although you're not here today, I usually try to pick on you when you're not here, it is just a friendlier place to do business. And to get a personality that consists of thousands of businesses, which each have their own goals, to recognize that they're better in collaboration together. Is it because for a long time they were seen as on an island and they thought they had to work together in order to be successful? But however you get there, it's there. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited that it's there, but it's something that you'd love to replicate, but you can't always do it because cities get a personality, regions get a personality, and businesses within those tend to replicate that. And so whatever happened 30, 40 years ago in our valley to make businesses realize they had to bond and work together really has laid a foundation for what I think is a great, great business culture.
And it's incumbent on all of us to make sure it persists.
It stays.
Right? Is that we continue to make sure it keeps going that way.
I don't know that I think it's probably been for about the last 20 years. Because I can remember when I first started my home-based business in 2006, I don't remember it being quite that collaborative. I think it's grown that way over the years and it continues to grow. And I think a lot of that has to do with probably about 20 years ago or so, the mind shift kind of happened in our region where instead of people being stuck here because they couldn't afford to buy in San Diego or Orange County, there has grown a sense of pride of living here, and people are very proud to live here. And I know when I've worked in some other areas, that doesn't the loyalty and the sense of community doesn't really exist as well. Number one, we are kind of an oasis. So there's kind of a definitive area as to where Southwest Riverside County is and isn't. It's the 5 cities, sometimes Canyon Lake, sometimes Y, sometimes 6 cities. And
Canyon Lake, you can come play. It's okay.
Well, but I think that I just think over the years, I think and it's kind of like when we talk about economic development. What's economic development? Well, it's a million different things that have to all kind of work together. And same thing that we're talking about here. Somewhere, I think about 20 or so years ago, there started to be a shift towards people feeling like that they were stuck here because it's all they could afford, to moving into more of a sense of pride and choosing to be here because it's beautiful and there's a lot of great opportunity here. And I think that shift started happening maybe 20, 25 years ago, and it's grown. And then because we have kind of a loyalty, just loyalty to the community too, I think. So you don't see businesses, especially between cities, certainly. You don't see a business in one city helping out a business in another city like we do here. You don't see that in other areas.
True.
Right.
And you don't see the engagement, I don't think, in other areas of California, at least that I've been aware of. You don't see the same level of engagement from the chambers and the chambers collaborating with each other. You don't see the same level of engagement from the cities and the cities engaging with their businesses and the cities engaging with the chambers, and just all around collaboration that we have here in Southwest Riverside County. You just don't see that in other areas. And I know when I was talking to a lot of businesses in Orange County, they told me that they don't get that kind of attention from the city, the respective city that they're in. They just don't get that attention from their city. And I don't know whether that's true or not, but that's what I was told when I was going out to, like to those Orange County Business Journal meetings and that sort of thing. It's a different thing here. The level of collaboration just the fact that we do this podcast, this doesn't exist in other areas, so.
And if it does, we'll sue them for copyright on the name ECONversations with stealing from us.
And it's what makes our job so much fun, because I can't imagine trying to do my job without the collaboration that we have with all of our, from our hospitals to our public safety, our police and fire departments, all the way around our city governments, and the city governments talking to one another. Each one of the 6 city governments talk to each other all the time. The chambers, I mean, it's a really great level of collaboration. Everybody knows everybody knows everyone else's business around here. And we're all just friends. And that's what I always try to get across to new business owners, is that we're all friends on a different level, maybe, than you see in other parts of California or even the nation.
It's like kindergarten. As soon as you come in, you're all one of our friends now.
Yeah.
Everything is happy. But it makes a lot of sense, just leaning towards the other part of the conversation, which I don't think is where we intended to go originally. But, part of this talking about businesses being supportive of each other is cities being supportive of each other and chambers being supportive. You have to walk the talk. It would do us no good to sit here and talk about being in a collaborative environment if we weren't doing it ourselves, because then it really is just lip service. So I think that makes a really good example, Kim, of why it is the way it is because it's everyone. It's not just any one entity. It's all the verticals, all the entities are all working together.
Mm-hmm. And I can remember even, and I'm sure there's lots of examples of this, but there was a business owner who was a photographer in our region that got cancer, and we all pitched in and drove him to his medical appointments because he didn't have family that was local. And that you can duplicate that story hundreds and hundreds of times in this valley, because that's just that's how we operate here. And that would be my wish for anyone either thinking about opening up a business here, or whether you're a first time, you live here already. People who live here already but maybe work elsewhere and don't have a business here, they don't know that there's this collaboration that goes on. And that's what's so exciting. When they start to understand that, and they're like, wow, this was going on the whole time, I had no idea, right? Because they're leaving during the day to go work somewhere else. Or somebody, say a developer in Orange County, or a business in Orange County that would like to locate out here. That would be my wish, is for them to have any kind of understanding of the collaboration and friendship that goes on in this valley, and that it is real.
And that's the importance of doing these kinds of things, right? Is so that we can help tell that story.
Yep.
Very good. All right. Well, it seems like a perfect way.
You can't end better than that. Yeah.
To end this episode. So,
I love you guys.
As we all need to go reach for tissues and fix our mascara, and I'm talking about me.
It was a tearjerker.
I want to thank you all for joining us again for the Southwest Riverside County Economic Development ECONversations Podcast. Kimberly, Scott, thank you again. We'll see you again in the upcoming episodes.